Hello, everyone, and hello, Florence.
Hi, Bettina. Hello,
Hello.
everybody.
Hello. This is Culture Vultures. We are talking about culture honestly and openly. And today we are talking about politeness. Is it just another word for some people to avoid truths that might be uncomfortable? Not saying things that they actually want to say because they think it's not nice, it's not polite. Saying those things. And practically, and especially I think of, some of the feedbacks that are very normal here in the UK, people being very polite and not saying out the truth loud, saying out loud the truth. For example, in a business setting, when you ask for feedback and you don't get it directly, people would say, "Oh, your presentation was actually quite good. Maybe some little things to tweak here and there." Instead of saying, "I don't think it has landed with the audience. I observed them. It didn't really get to them." That would be, in my view, as an Austrian, it would be kind, maybe not nice, but kind, because I would learn from that feedback, right? So why is it that we still value that politeness more than open, honest, maybe uncomfortable truth? What do you think?
I guess most of the time the people don't want to hurt another person. And it's easier to say, oh, that was good, that was nice, that was a very good presentation. And then you don't have to deal with the reaction of the other person. But when you say something negative, a negative part, then you have to deal with the reaction of your counterpart. And that's not easy, not always. Yeah. Or when someone, just as you said, asked, how was my speech? And you have to be very in the subject to be able to give a good feedback. And when you are not, then it's easier to say, oh, it was nice. It was a good speech.
Maybe, yeah. And
You
I don't want
understand?
to, yeah, I would not like to blame someone for not wanting to give that open feedback. Sometimes it's so cultural that we can't even help it, right? So in cultures where that element of harmony is very important rather than disruption, you might find that also less than in a more direct, as we say, low context culture. So those high context cultures that give more information by or with the tone of voice, maybe even with pauses, not speaking out loud everything that we have on in our minds. That is called a high context culture. But it's only understood, that feedback of not answering right away would only be understood by people of the same culture. It's a learned element of their being, of their communicating with each other.
And I also think it depends on whether I ask for feedback or whether the feedback is given without being asked. I don't want to have
Absolutely.
a feedback when I haven't asked the person, or when I have the feeling that the person does not even know what I was talking about, and then giving me a feedback. I mean, on what background are you giving me a feedback when you don't even know my topic or my subject? Yeah. So that's also something I think that matters.
Absolutely. Would you personally then perceive that as rude and not polite?
When someone gives me a feedback and I haven't asked,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't want feedback from someone I haven't asked. So if I ask for your feedback, then I really want your true feedback, and I don't want it to be sugar coated, because I asked you, I give you I gave you the permission to say very freely what you think. Yeah. But if you just approach me and sure, if you give me a compliment, then it's nice. But if you tell me, oh, what you just said, that was not good, or how you chose your words or whatever, then I think, okay, have I asked you? I haven't asked you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So please don't do that.
On the other hand, then we could also say that it very much depends on the words we use. If I came up to you after you have given one of your speeches or your keynotes, which you often do, right? And I come up to you and I say, that was a really interesting speech. May I give you one element of feedback, how I perceived something personally? Would that be an element of not being polite, or would you say that is acceptable?
Well, I think that also depends on the generation. The younger generation, I have the feeling, for them it's okay. But I was raised in a way that you don't speak if you are not asked. Yeah. So if someone just approaches me and tries to go into the conversation just as you tried to do that, I would ask myself, hey, who are you? I haven't asked you. I don't want to hear. Which is perhaps a little stubborn. Yeah. I admit that. But no, I don't want people to just approach me and tell me what they think. I mean, lots of
Okay.
people do that. Yeah. But and if it's something positive, then I walk away with a smile. And if it's something negative, then I think, who cares what you think? Yeah. But that
Okay.
may be stubborn. Yeah.
Not stubborn, but does it have an element of you feeling that you lose face? Or it's an assumption that I make. I don't know.
It's not that I lose face. It's like I think, who has asked you? Yeah. So you take a permission and do something, a permission that wasn't given to you. Yeah,
Sure.
I would never go to someone who I don't know. I've just listened to the topic.
Talk.
I don't know the person, and then I tell the person, what I wanted to tell you is, yeah, and then something perhaps negative, or I give the person a hint that the person didn't ask me for. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think that is not polite. That's rude.
Interesting. I think we have different viewpoints here.
Hmm.
I think I wouldn't mind unsolicited feedback, especially in a situation like that, because if I'm giving a speech, then I'm doing it for the audience. So I wouldn't mind if they tell me that one element has landed better with them than another. But I guess that's very personal. Maybe that's my very Austrian side. Or maybe it's just me. We never know. So
And
it's a bit cultural and it's very much personal as well, I would
yes,
guess.
and it's how you said it depends on how the person does it. If the person
Absolutely.
approaches me and I find the person nice, just
Mm.
in the way or yeah, the way the person, approaches me. And I think then it's easier to take as if it's a person I wouldn't like to talk to in any way.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Or bluntly, then just giving you, serving you whatever is their feedback, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or the kind of mansplaining, you know what
Yeah,
that is. Yeah.
yeah.
So that often happens when men come and think they need to explain to you what you have just spoken about, not even knowing what you have
Yeah.
spoken about. For example, I have that in my business a lot. That men come and want to give me some life advice. Yeah. And I always say, I don't need your life advice. And I don't think that we two have ever played in the same compound. So
Yeah.
please, you go your way, I go my
Yeah.
way. I haven't asked you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then in that moment, probably that person has left that area of politeness altogether anyway,
Yeah.
because they didn't address it in an appropriate manner that gives you the chance to accept it as well,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
With
Yeah.
the
And I
grace
don't
that we
want
all
it.
want to accept
Yeah, I
criticism
don't
with.
want it. But another last example, what I have learned in my profession, when I talk to parents, and it really happened, I had to speak to parents and I had to tell them that the kid needs another way of learning because that kid, it was a son, was handicapped. And these parents, or those parents, came from another culture. And I said, well, this school is not the correct school, the appropriate school for your son. Your son is handicapped, so he needs a school for special needs. Yeah. So, and they were so offended. They felt offended. They were, oh my God, it was really, the situation was just a mess. Yeah. And then I learned that in that culture, you are never ever allowed to say that a kid or a person is handicapped. Because if you say that, in their language, it means like you say your car is completely broken, you can't even repair it, you have to just throw it away.
Yeah. Something is wrong rather than,
Yeah, that's the same with a kid. So I learned that never to say your kid is handicapped, but to say, oh, perhaps your kid needs this help or this support. Yeah, but never to use the word handicapped.
Yeah. All right. But that's a very specific element of knowledge.
Yeah.
When it comes to politeness perceived by others.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that was a good discussion, because I think it's so ingrained in us that sometimes we don't even realize when we leave that field of politeness, because for us it still is. Yeah. Thank you very much, Florence, for today.
Yeah, thank you.
Looking forward to our next conversation, and this one I very much appreciated. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for asking.
You're very welcome.
Bye-bye.